pretty small DVD collection, but I got some good movies and TV shows in there I thought I would show off here. Before we get started, I thought I'd like to point out that this is not the first, not the second, no, not the third, but the fourth attempt at recording this video after first being interrupted by a friend of mine who was coming home from a music festival and needed a ride as soon as I was about to start recording. So I went and picked her up and dropped her off at the train station. Came back. It was maybe like 12:30 at night. About halfway through my second attempt at recording, my neighbors started to party with loud music and just shouting at each other. And then I attempted to record it again first thing in the morning. And about 2 minutes into recording, a city truck, construction truck, showed up in my alley and started cutting down tree branches. So hopefully I won't be disturbed this time around while I show off some of the DVDs that I have, starting with the movie Juno. So I remember watching this movie when I was a kid, and this first came out on DVD, watching it in the basement of my stepmom's house. And I enjoyed it back then, despite not understanding a lot of the humor and antics of teenage adolescence. This movie was my introduction to these two particular actors, Ellen Page and Michael Cera, who've gone on to star in a lot of other movies and TV shows since and before. As a ensemble cast, including Jennifer Garner, Jason Bateman, Allison Janney, and J.K. Simmons. It's a real quirky movie. Has a lot of character, some quality acting, some great scripts and dialogue. I always like the scenes when Juno goes to hang out with Jason Bateman's character at his house, and they watch gore movies and talk smack about Sonic Youth and other bands. It's got a good soundtrack too. I think we'll start off by showing some more comedies, rom-coms, and such. Now, believe it or not, this next movie is my favorite movie of all time, for no other reason than nostalgia. And that movie is Napoleon Dynamite. Kind of a silly movie, but I think it's really well done. It was a groundbreaking film. It was very low budget, and it's a great depiction of Middle America in film. I saw this movie when it first came out in its initial release, in only a handful of select movie theaters before it was re-released through MTV to a wider audience. I saw it in a theater in Idaho, which is where the movie takes place. Growing up in Montana, Idaho was the state that I spent the most time in, other than Montana. And they're very similar, and this movie felt very relatable to the common culture of people in the Midwest like that. It also felt relatable because I grew up in a Mormon household, and John Heater, the actor who plays Napoleon Dynamite, also grew up in a Mormon household. But it's got some great characters, some just very great quotes, very quotable movie, some iconic scenes, some, of course, great music. I always really liked the scene with the tater tots when he pulls them out in class. It's a great a.s.m.r. moment in film. The gentle crunch of the tater tots, and then the bully next to him wants some tater tots and then kicks him in the pocket. Just gonna plop those right on the floor there. The next movie here is The 40-Year-Old Virgin from Hollywood Video here for $14.99. It's a good movie, but I wouldn't pay that much for this. This movie came out only months after The Office came out, but it came out about a year after the Ron Burgundy, the Anchorman movie, which he also starred in, which the Judd Apatow who directed this movie saw him in that movie and said he'd be perfect for this role. And I know the idea of The 40-Year-Old Virgin was something that Steve Carell came up with, and he pulled it off really well. This is the unrated version, which isn't like any more raunchy than the regular version, to be honest, but still a very funny movie, very memorable, a lot of memorable scenes in there, like the chest waxing scene, which Steve Carell actually filmed with his actual chest hair being ripped out for the first time. Very genuine acting. Has a lot of the same characters that appear in a lot of Judd Apatow movies, like Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd. Here's one of my favorite British TV shows here. I guess not really much of a TV show as much as it is an anthology. And that, of course, is Wallace and Grommet, about an old inventor who loves cheese, and his silent sidekick dog, who's very smart, sometimes misunderstood. It's developed by Artman Animation. This is the first 3 adventures that they developed, which were released in the late 80s, early 90s. I think the first one was 1988. And that one was called A Grand Day Out, a silly adventure where they build a rocket ship and go to the moon because they believe the moon is made of cheese. Think it's a good place to vacation some good quirky music, and of course a television show that has no logic whatsoever, as they're just walking around on the surface of the moon, no helmets, just eating moon rocks. Also, I apologize in advance for the train that goes by every 5 minutes or so here in the morning. The other ones, the wrong trousers. What about the master jewel thief, Penguin Man, who uses Wallace's inventions to steal priceless jewels from museums? And then the last one, which I believe came out in 1994, A Close Shave, which was the debut of the character Shaun the Sheep, who's also a well-known Aardman animation character who eventually got his own TV show. I thoroughly enjoyed watching these as a kid. There's not very many Wallace and Grommet shows and spin-offs out there, but these three are iconic and have definitely stood the test of time, even though the animation is not as good as some claymation done in the years following. Wallace and Grommet did, however, get a couple spin-offs, including a feature film. It's called Wallace and Grommet, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. This was a fantastic film adaptation for them. It's got some great laughs, some really heartwarming moments. This DVD case in particular is kind of filthy. A lot of them aren't that clean, but most of them are just for decoration. Most of the time when I watch movies, I don't watch DVDs anyway, but I've acquired many of these over the years. Back's even worse. As you can see, the back has the, sorry for the glare there. There's the scene where Wallace is not exterminating, but capturing all of the rabbits at this mansion and uses a vacuum to suck them all out of the ground. And then he accidentally sucks up the toupee of the antagonist of the film, who wears a rabbit on his head. It's a fun movie. I remember renting the video game based on this movie for the PlayStation 2 a long time ago, and watching the behind the scenes of them developing the show and seeing how tall the claymation characters actually were in the studio. On a similar note to British television here, we also have this big guy here. This is Mr. Bean, the Ultimate Collection, with Rowan Atkinson as the titular character, Mr. Bean. This is a great box set. I've seen everything in it. It's got several TV shows. It's got season 1, 2, and 3. It's got Mr. Bean's Holiday. It's got Bean the Movie. And some other specials, including It's Not Easy Being Bean, and Bean There, Done That. They all pretty much look the same, other than the end labels. Animation series. I don't think the animated series was as funny as the live-action series, but rest of them are pretty much just single DVD cases. Continuing on with some more TV shows here. We have a hidden gem from the early 2000s. This is the Andy Milonakis show, starring Andy Milonakis. This is the complete first season, and this is also the only DVD in my collection that I've ever gone out of my way to look for and purchase myself, because I love the show so much. I had vague memories of seeing it on TV as a kid, on late night TV. Just thinking some of the bits were just so silly, but also very memorable. This TV show, in a way, pioneered a lot of the, what you would call, cringe humor that followed in the years after, like Tim and Eric Andre. Bears a lot of similarities. It's like it's a sketch TV show. Believe it or not, it was produced by Jimmy Kimmel, who saw a video that Andy Milonakis had uploaded to YouTube of him playing a out-of-tune guitar and singing a song called "The Super Bowl is Gay." And apparently after seeing that, he thought, give this kid a TV show. And little did he know that this TV show would be as infamous as it was. As you can see, Andy Milonakis here has the karaoke machine, because Andy likes to rap. He's not too bad at it. His rhymes are kind of silly and childish, but he's got some decent deliverance and flow. The show only lasted for 3 seasons. The first 2 seasons are definitely the best too. But he eventually went on to form a rap group called 3 Loco, which also included the rapper Riff Raff and the other guy from Scary Movie 3, the rapper, whose name escapes me right now. I think it's Rex something. It's a good show. He's gone on to make some smaller cameos in various other TV shows. There's another TV show, kind of a silly one. This is Home Improvement, the complete 8th season, which was also the final season. Hard to believe this show ran for 8 seasons at all. But it was a good, heartwarming show as well. Family sitcom. I got this DVD when I was maybe 10 years old, during a brief period of my childhood when I didn't have cable television. And my mom told me that we weren't going to have cable anymore by giving me this DVD as a compensation in a way for not having any television. But I definitely watched it all and enjoyed it as a kid. I used to watch it on Nick at Night all the time, along with, George Lopez, and Family Matters, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Tim Allen has gone on to do a lot of great work in Hollywood since, I guess, quote-unquote great, but forget Toy Story. Incredible TV show. Alright, now we're gonna get on to some music-related films. Some of my favorite genres of films are music biopics, but I don't really have many of those, but I do have a lot that are music-related, I guess fictional biographies, like this movie here. This is Almost Famous, from the writer-director of Jerry Maguire, a movie I've never seen, but this is a really good movie. It's a Cameron Crowe film. It's about a kid who wants to be a music journalist and follows this band on tour and documents their antics and what it's like to live on the road. My dad got me this film for Christmas, maybe 6 years ago. I thought I would like it, and I did. I think I've only seen it maybe twice, but it's a quality film. Another music film, a little less serious, but definitely one of my favorites growing up for sure. This is Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny, starring Jack Black and Kyle Gass, the two main men in the band Tenacious D. When this movie first came out, it was a little bit of a critical failure. A lot of critics didn't like it. Wasn't a huge box office smash. However, in promotion with the film, the band also did a world tour, and almost every single show on that tour was sold out, which meant they were definitely still popular, just not among film critics, I suppose. It's got a lot of just great funny moments, a lot of great guest actors, like Tim Robbins and Ben Stiller, Amy Poehler, and of course Meatloaf, who plays Jack Black's dad. Rest in peace. I remember in high school when I was in Boston, I was attending classes at Berklee College of Music, and me and a bunch of other students were watching this movie together, and there was this one guy who was just quoting every single line of the movie as it was going. Man, with a lot of heart, apparently. But the music in this movie is great, of course. Very rock-oriented. It's indeed a rock opera. This next movie probably has been forgotten in time, but it's called The Rocker, starring Rainn Wilson, who we all know as Dwight from The Office, who also had a role in the movie Juno as well. Played the corner store clerk, spoke very fresh. This is the Born to Rock edition, which is pretty much the same as the regular edition, if you ask me. But it's a fun movie. It's a great journey about a guy who was basically kicked out of his band for no reason. And that band went on to be super popular, and then 20 years later, he kind of gets his groove back with another band with his nephew. A lot of funny antics. Also a nice, big ensemble cast, too. Eric Johnson, who's an American, just virtuoso guitar shredder. This is a live performance in Anaheim, California, that someone gave me as a gift. Eric Johnson is probably most well known for a song called Cliffs of Dover, which he had included on the video game Guitar Hero 3, which probably brought him to a much wider audience, but it's a good performance. He's mostly well known for playing traditional Fender Stratocasters. Now we're going to get into some more serious movies, some more dramas. Starting with the movie Full Metal Jacket. It's a Stanley Kubrick film, very critically acclaimed, a classic. Same filmmaker who made Clockwork Orange and 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's a classic war movie, and Stanley Kubrick was known for always making his actors do hundreds upon hundreds of takes to get the right one. And I heard that the actor who played the drill sergeant really threw out his voice, because they made him re-record scenes where he's just screaming at his cadets over and over again. But there's a lot of memorable moments throughout this film. It's the digitally restored and remastered edition from the Stanley Kubrick collection. This next movie I really enjoyed growing up. I thought a lot of people probably hadn't seen it, but this is Cloud Atlas. When it came out, it was kind of panned by critics. Some thought it was an incredible movie, and some thought it was not very good. But I always thought it was a really good movie. It's about like 6 generations, so it's kind of like 6 short movies in one, but they all kind of take turns telling their tales, and they're all played by the same actors who are meant to be like their ancestors throughout the generations of stories. It's ranging from like the 1700s to the year like 2332 or something like that. Has a nice big ensemble cast, including Tom Hanks, Halle Berry, Jim Broadbent, Hugo Weaving, Jim Sturgis, a handful of others there. It says here it's a rental, but I definitely never rented this movie. Maybe whoever owned it previously stole it from the movie rental place. This next movie, Requiem for a Dream, a pretty intense depiction of drug use amongst different age groups and types of people. But it's a very serious movie. Pretty tragic. This is the movie that I ultimately associate Jared Leto with. I've always thought of Jared Leto as more of an actor than a musician. At least that's how I came to discover him. It's the edited version. I'm not sure what that means, but I've definitely seen it a couple times. this Jennifer Connelly from The Labyrinth. Sounds like someone's digging in the trash cans in the alley. This next movie here is Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. Oh, it's not really one of the movies I ultimately associate with Johnny Depp. I think he has so many iconic roles and iconic characters. But this is still a pretty good movie. A great gothic depiction of the old story of the Headless Horseman. It reminds me in a lot of ways to the movie Sweeney Todd. It's not too scary, but it's got some good old practical violence in it, and a pretty decent story. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's still entertaining to watch. This next one I literally just found in a box on the sidewalk. Someone was just giving out free stuff, and I thought this was too silly to not grab. This is a 9-film collection that has 7 movies in the Children of the Corn series, which of course doesn't include the original Children of the Corn, and 3 movies from the Halloween franchise, which of course doesn't include the original Halloween or the original first, 3 Halloweens. I think this is the 5th one. 5th or the 6th, but only the first 2 Halloweens, in my opinion, are really good classics. I've only seen H2O here, and I've only seen the original Children of the Corn. I've never watched any of these, but I thought it was too outrageous of an idea that someone thought to actually put these 2 franchises together and not include any of the originals. I bet you this whole thing probably cost less than $5 in some bargain bin at Walmart. But I've probably seen some weirder combinations of films and developed by Miramax. Those people didn't know what they were throwing out, apparently. This next movie, The Spirit. This is actually the only movie in my whole collection that I've actually never seen, because this was given to me by a friend who was moving away. But The Spirit, I've heard, was not a very good movie, despite having an ensemble cast of Samuel L. Jackson, Scarlett Johansson, Eva Mendes, and Sarah Paulson. Not much to say about it since I've never actually watched it. But I'm sure it's not as awful as people have said it is, because it did make a lot of money, apparently. Developed by Lionsgate Pictures. was a Christmas gift, maybe like a year after the movie had come out, starring Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Vin Diesel as Groot, and Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon. I came to know the Guardians of the Galaxy from the Lego Marvel video game, and then, sure enough, they got their own movie right after. This has probably the best soundtrack of any Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, and the second best soundtrack would probably be Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Just a lot of classic songs from the Mega Mix mixtape that he gets from his mother in the show. Star-Lord was not one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Infinity War series, though. Alright, I'm gonna show these next three movies all together. We have X-Men, we have X-Men 2, and you guessed it, we have X-Men 3. All three of these movies I watched growing up. I think they were my favorite Marvel movies, even though they're not technically part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But Hugh Jackman plays a fantastic Wolverine. Patrick Stewart plays an incredible Professor X. And just, it's nice to see a cast of various superheroes and characters rather than just one superhero like the Spider-Man movies. The first one was really good. The second one was not as good, but still good. The third one, however, was not nearly as good as these two. But they got all sorts of characters, including Jean Grey, Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Magneto, Mystique, Iceman, Rogue, the Juggernaut, Colossus. I think the special effects probably have aged the worst, but the acting was still pretty good. I also played the X-Men video games for the PlayStation 2 a lot growing up as well. And we have one more X-Men movie here. This is X-Men Origins Wolverine. And I thought this one was pretty good too. I thought it was better than X-Men 3 for sure. But again, I don't know if I would pay $14.99 for this movie from Hollywood Video. Especially if it was a previously viewed movie. But of course that doesn't make a difference, really, does it? But of course it's got Logan as Wolverine, and it's got Deadpool, and it's got Sabretooth and Gambit. I'm not sure who that is. But it has the iconic transformation scene as to how he became, how he got the claws. Well, not how he got, the adamantium that made the claws indestructible. And all the horrific experiments that they did on him. And also just his backstory of him being in various wars with his brother. all the X-Men movies. I definitely snatched up from my parents' house back in Montana, but obviously nobody's ever said anything, so I assume nobody's noticed or nobody cared. Alright, this is the last thing I'm going to show you here. Well, it's a couple things, technically. From one of my favorite series, we have Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. We have Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. And, of course, Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. These three movies are some of the most iconic and groundbreaking pieces of cinema, and it's pretty crazy how much of an impact they had on science fiction and Comic-Con and nerd culture in general. But these are all like the digitally remastered editions, which some would say, some Star Wars elitists might say, aren't true to the original. Like, you need to watch the original special effects versions, but I like these much better. Pretty much the same story. These three movies, I'd say Episode 5 is my favorite. Episode 1 is iconic, and Episode 4 was a great conclusion to the series. I've seen all three movies many, many times. A lot of Star Wars video games I also played growing up as well, which of course we wouldn't have without these three movies. And on top of having the three Star Wars movies, the three original trilogy, believe it or not, one year for Christmas, somebody gave me this box set. Well, not really a box set, but it is a box that has all three of the original Star Wars trilogy movies on Blu-ray. A Darth Vader edition, if you will. Again, pretty much the same movie, but I guess they didn't know that I already had the three originals, but hey, the more the merrier. The box looks pretty cool. It's kind of a heavy case, actually. Alright, well, that'll do it for this video. I have maybe like a couple more DVDs, but they're not very interesting or well known. But maybe if I acquire some more one day, I'll do a part 2. All the DVDs that I have.